Oh, are we live? Are we live? Oh, hold on. God damn it. There you go. Okay, that's done with. All right. I hope you're all doing well. Okay, so where did we leave off? If I remember correctly, Red Herring and Silver Sterling were interested to see how I would do. Hello, Red Herring. Yeah, if I remember correctly, they were interested to see how I would do a resources based, what's it called? A resource based constraints. So, like, basically, deploying towers based on how many resources we have and stuff like that, right? Aside from that, it's also I'm also going to show the mechanics related to having tower adjacency bonuses, right? Because if I press play right now, hold on, am I able to? Interesting. Yep. Yeah, okay. So for whatever reason, I'm able to stack multiple towers of a different type together, right? That's a bug. Whatever. It's not the end of the world. But that's a bug. But yeah, as you saw, we have the grid based system working. Shekel, but idea of great towers. The currency must be shekels. Oh Jesus. But yeah, but basically, um, what was I saying? Yeah, so we have the grid system working. First, I think I'm gonna do the resource system first, just because it's a bit easier to do, and then after that, I'm gonna do the what's it called? The adjacency bonus, which is probably gonna be something like, I don't know, if you have a red tower, all the towers next to it are doing bonus damage or whatever, something like that, right? We'll see basically. Okay, so let's go here. Spawner, tower defense manager. No, not this one. It's the player manager script for the tower defense. What I'm thinking is you have tower placement variables. Okay. So what I'm thinking is, okay, let's do it like that. So the player manager is the one that contains the list of all of the different prefabs, right? For the placement and stuff like that, right? So what I'm thinking is I can simply create another list, make it a public list of type integer, right? And because all of these lists, I'm manually making sure that they're all I'm basically manually making sure that all of these lists, like the indexes, are basically the same, right? So on index 0, the tower placement prefab is the tower placement prefab for the tower that's on index 0 in the other list, right? So here what I'm going to do is tower costs list. There you go, right? Fuck. God damn it. Rename player towers costs list. Index equals tower ID. List element equals how much the tower costs. Okay, there you go. This is what I'm gonna do. And then, well, I guess here I can just put this back up like that. Current tower ID, and then here it's gonna be int. Also, we want resources to always be in integers, because you don't want to have like 1.25 minerals or 1.25 whatever, right? Blood diamond currency gotta work. Oh Jesus. All right. So what was I saying? Yeah. So you want your resources always to be integers. Same thing with like your HP or your damage or stuff like that, right? Like you don't want to be doing like 1.17 damage, 3.36 minerals, whatever the fuck, right? Like you don't want that. You want to keep it simple and stupid, right? So here I'm gonna do current tower, not current tower cost. It's gonna be player. So current player resources, let's say, which is gonna be equal to 0. There you go. Now, if you were to be making a game where you have multiple resources, and I guess we're gonna see this in the city builder, what's it called? I guess we're gonna see this in the city builder prototype. But basically, if you have multiple resources, what I do is I just create a list of type integer, and then each index is a certain resource type. So I don't know, like gold, lumber, stone, food, whatever, right? But here, because we're keeping it simple, and typically in tower defense games, I think you only really have one resource. We're gonna keep it the same. We're gonna keep it simple, and yeah, public integer, etc., right? So what I'm gonna do here is, yeah, here we have the current player resources. All right. So actually, I'm gonna do it -1 because we wanted to start off. So, or actually no, yeah, I'll put that 0, and then here in void start I can just say, let's say player resources plus equals 100, let's say, right? So oops, so setup player resources, there you go. No, setup reference to raycast manager script. There you go. A single type of resource is the best. Well, yeah, for a tower defense game, right? For a strategy game or a city builders and stuff, like what's fun is balancing the different resources and whatnot, right? But for a game like the one we're making here, which is like a tower defense, it's better to have like only one resource type, you know? Okay, so now that we have this, now let's do where is enemy tower defense? There you go. Okay, hold on, just give me a second. Okay. Okay, enemy stats, and okay, red enemy, blue. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically we already have the value thing here, right? So literally all I'm gonna use is this here. So wait, when it's HP manager blah blah blah, right? What I'm gonna do is as follows. Okay, do we have the tower defense manager, but we don't have a reference to the player manager tower defense. This player manager td script. Okay, there you go. Void start. This player manager td script equals player manager. There you go. All right, and so now when it dies, what it's gonna do before it destroys itself, it's remove this enemy from the game manager's enemies list. And then here it's gonna be update players resources. Okay, and oops, and here, god damn it, here what I'm gonna do is player manager script dot player resources plus equals value, this enemy final value, which this variable is updated at the start. There you go, right? That's it. Like this is how you get the resources from the enemies to the player. Really simple. And then for the actual towers themselves, we go back to the player manager TD. That's the first half of it. It's to get the enemies, basically to get the enemies resources. Like this is how you transfer the data from the enemies to the player, basically, right? But there are other ways of doing it, right? Like, so this is the way that, like, on the fly it came to me to do it, like right now as we speak, right? But maybe 10 seconds ago I just had another idea of how to do it. What you could do is create a list, right? Like an integer list. That's, well, actually, let me just do it here, because if I just explain it without doing it, it's going to be a bit more difficult to understand, right? Enemies values list. There you go. And here we say index equals enemy type, like red, blue, whatever. And then list element equals said enemies value, right? And so basically what you could do here is literally, if we go back to the enemy TD, here you would just do player manager script dot list enemy values list. Well, actually, yeah, so this here would be a bit more complicated, right? So now you're gonna see why I did it the way that I did. But basically here you would say if type enemy type, this enemy type TD equals enemy type TD, let's say blue enemy, then you're gonna go into the player manager script dot list enemy values list dot, let's say 0, because you go 0 because you know that the value of the enemy of the blue enemies is on index 0, right? And then you do plus equals 1, right? That's it. It's that simple. Then let's say we're gonna copy paste this here. Else if it's red enemy, we're gonna go 1, etc., etc., right? Like so on and so forth for the green, yellow, and whatever other enemy, right? And then you go into the player manager TD, and then you would basically have a for loop that's constantly cycling through each of these, right? But like it's getting very convoluted, right? But you kind of see where I'm going with it, right? You would basically go for every single, like, let me show you. Well, actually, I'm just gonna do it here because it doesn't really matter, right? So let's say void update resources, right? Just for it to be colored. And then here you have a for loop index 0, loop index 0, values list dot count. There you go. Or actually, no, you wouldn't be using a for loop, actually. Or would you? Well, okay. So again, this goes back to the thing that I was saying here. Was it here? No, it was in the tower detection manager. Yeah. So basically it's the thing that I was doing here, right? Where like we we take a screenshot, like a snapshot of the list, right? And then we do it or whatever, right? Yeah, this number of enemies this frame equals this dot count whatever, right? So that's basically what I would have to do. I would do player manager TD. I would do int current number of oh well, no, wait a minute. Okay, I remember again, like I'm showing you a very convoluted version of doing it just to show you that there are many different ways of doing it, right? But it's just I'm going with my philosophy when designing video games is keep it simple and stupid. If it's so unintuitive and so convoluted that you yourself, you the developer, are having difficulty visualizing it in your head, then that means that your design is fucked. Like your design is not good, basically, right? So here, basically, I would have to create another list, right, of type integer. That's number of enemies killed list. There you go. Index equals enemy type. List element is number of enemies of that, well, number of enemies killed, let's say, right? And so then we would go into the enemy TD script and do this, basically. This player manager script dot enemies, number of enemies killed, 0 plus equals 1. This is the thing. There you go. Yeah, so I did it wrong here. This is the thing. So before it dies, it tells the player, before it dies, it tells the player manager script, hey, add a new like one more value to index 0 of the number of enemies killed list. Then we go into player manager, and now here what we do is int number of blue and or number of enemies killed equals 0. Update resources for all blue kills. Okay, now here we're gonna do number of enemies. Wait, no. If number of enemies killed list 0 is greater than 0, then we're gonna do here like that. Okay, then here we're gonna do number of enemies killed equals number of enemies killed. There you go. Is this type integer? Type integer. Ah, fuck's sake. Okay, there you go. There you go. Like that. And then this here, you replace it with this. And then you do... Do you see how convoluted it is? Enemies values list. No. You do player resources. Plus equals... no, yeah, you don't need a for loop actually. What the fuck am I doing? Player resources plus equals number of enemies killed times what's it called? Number of enemies killed times values list 0. There you go. And then once you're done with this, you do number of enemies killed list 0 minus equals number of enemies killed. Boom. And then you repeat this exact same thing for the rest, right? Like this, you do 1, right? For red kills, 1, 1. So do you see how convoluted it gets? Do you see how fucking like ridiculously stupid this is? You could do it this way, right? If you're a masochist and you like making your life more complicated and shit, you could do it this way, right? And technically this might be the better version depending on what mechanics you have, right? Like if you have a certain mechanic based on the number of kills you get, like I don't know, like certain towers, like let's say you have a mechanic where a tower gains more power, like it upgrades itself with each kill it gets. Well, then maybe this might be useful doing it this way, right? But in our current prototype, I'm not gonna have a mechanic like that. So like I'm not gonna use this, right? This could be useful for, well, exactly, for stat recording, for any mechanic related to stat recording, right? But again, I'm keeping things simple, so I'm not gonna do it this way, right? I'm creating these prototypes to be as universal and basic in a sense as possible, right? So I'm going to delete all of this. I'm going to delete oops, I'm gonna delete this as well. Then we're gonna go into not tower manager but enemy tower defense. Number of enemies killed. It should give me an error. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so I'm going to delete this here like that. Okay. Or wait, would you want me to keep this just in case? Actually, yeah, I am gonna keep it. Oh, wait. There you go. I am gonna keep it just for you autists. There you go. Autistic. This is for you. Alright, and I'm just gonna move this like that. Late update. We're not in the late update. There you go. There you go. Project manager, yes, this is the problem with remote work. Alright. Okay, so okay. These two lists are used to show you how you can do a resource system like a retard turbo autist. There you go. He won't get away with this when we call everyone back to the office. Yeah, in Brampton. Yeah, good luck getting me to go there, bro. All right. So, let me just go back to what I was doing. So basically, enemy TD, when the enemy dies, again, like, disregard this. Okay, there you go. Okay, so as I said here, enemy final value, blah, 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 right? Like right before the enemy dies, it's gonna do this, right? Then we go back to the player manager. So now that we've updated the player resources, right? Basically, when it comes time to where is it? Tower placement. Okay. Can place new tower. is true. Okay, there you go. Now here in the place current tower thing, right? Which is, yeah, if can place new tower boolean equals true, then this, yeah, and you left click, and this, then, yeah. So basically when you left click, right, when you left click, if this boolean is true, then this is going to happen, right? Oh, fuck's sake. Where am I? Where was I? Okay, there you go. I control clicked it to go back to here. So now here, what I'm gonna do is, I can either do it inside of this function, or I can do it directly here. I can add to this if statement, but I choose to do it inside of the function itself, right? So what I'm gonna do is, if hold on, what were the lists again? It's a tower costs list. Okay, yeah. Now I remember. Okay, so if cost list, tower cost list, current tower ID is lower or equal to player resources. Okay, so we're gonna remove this. It's only gonna be a simple one. There you go. Then we're gonna do this basically. Hold on. There you go. Right? So now now it should be working. Now let's click this here, click on the player manager. Where are tower placement things? Current tower ID is 0. Player tower costs. Okay, I need to create 4 of these manually. Let's say 5 each, right? Let's say all the towers have the same cost, which means that I can put 20 towers down initially, right? Because each tower, or let's make it a bit easier to read, like 10 towers each, right? Each tower costs 10. I set it up so that in our void start, void start, it gives us 100 resources at the start. So let's do it like that. And then, so current player resource is 0. The moment I press play, it should go up to 100. And then, oh wait, hold on. I forgot one tiny little thing. Here we spawn this thing, and immediately afterwards we do player resources minus equals tower cost tower ID. There you go. There you go. Okay. Richmond Hill is where all the cool business. Oh, jeez. I bet it is. All right. Okay. So right now, current tower ID. Oh, see? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. There you go. And now let's see. Holy shit, my resources. Okay, so something's not normal. Let's go enemy. What? Plus equals this. Okay. So this should only happen once, right? You'll be laughing when I change the scope of your game. Jesus. Okay, hold on. So we require more Vesping tasks. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, so let me just see something. Does it increment the number of resources every time the projectile hits? Right? Okay, there you go. Let me see. So right now I have 0 resources. Okay. Okay, hold on. Interesting. So what are the values for each enemy? Enemy, let's say enemy yellow. What is final value 3, 4, 1, and 2? Okay, yeah, so that might be why. Yeah. I guess I just have way too many enemies, or whatever. Oh. Index was out of range. So what is this? Enemy TD 117. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck's sake. Yeah. It's giving me errors for these lists. Yeah. Because I didn't set them up. Manager, player TD manager. Yeah, these two lists here. Number of enemies killed. Here I need 4. Enemies values lists. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Yeah, so now it should stop giving us the error. Alright. Okay, well, either way, put a single tower. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to remove these ones. Okay. So I've put down a single tower. Yeah, it cost me 10. So now I'm at 90. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so I killed the blue enemy, so it went up by 1. Yeah, so it's working. It wasn't clear, especially from you guys' point of view, but it is working. It's just that basically the sheer number of enemies that I have with with the number of towers and also the number of I guess resources that the enemies give me ends up being like insanely high, basically, right? Because I think I put out maybe like 200 or 300 enemies, right? And if on average they each have like, so let's say 200, right? Hold on, I'm gonna do it. I was gonna do it with the calculator on my phone, but I'm gonna do it here for you guys to see. So let's say I have an average of 200 enemies, and they each on average have like 2. They give 2. Well, that's already 400. Now, obviously, like my resources were going up way higher than that. So it might be that I even have way more enemies than that, and that a lot of them give like 3 or 4 resources, right? So if I have like this times 4, boom, stuff like that, right? Whatever. But I think that the general idea for it is that it works more or less, right? So yeah, so that's how we're gonna do it, like that. And so now you have a baseline of how to do, the resources and everything. It's very simple, right? You have a variable. No, wrong script. You have a variable like player resources or whatever, and then you just compare it with a bunch of other stuff, right? Like with how much each tower costs, or if this is a strategy game, how much each unit costs when you select a building, or whatever, right? Is it possible a single projectile was hitting more than one enemy at a time? at once. Maybe, but first of all, I don't think so, because I think I coded all of my projectiles to die instantly. But also, the code isn't related to enemies, to projectiles. I mean, it's related to enemies, right? Because the code is in the enemy tower defense script, and it's specifically in the enemy manager function, and it only plays when the enemy's HP is below 0, right? A bug that might be happening, but again, I don't think so, because I basically checked to see, and the moment the first unit dies, it only updated once, right? So this is why I don't think it's a bug, unless there might be some sort of issue with certain enemy types. But again, at that point, the problem isn't with the logic, it's more so with the human error of how to set up, right? But yeah, so basically the code is definitely working. And as I said, like when you're making a resource system, you just create like a resource variable. In this instance, it's very basic, right? It's just player resources. But later on, next week, when we start doing the city builder prototype, that's where you're gonna see multiple resources and how to do it. It's gonna be a slightly more complex version of what I did today, right? You start with a basic resource, you compare it with the cost of whatever, right? So if we go down here, you check, is the cost at the currently selected index lower or equal to the resources we currently have available, right? And if so, then great. If not, then too bad, right? Okay. Oh, fuck, hold on. What the fuck is this? Oh, okay, sorry, my phone was acting weird. Okay. All right. So now let's do the adjacency bonus. Okay, so again, there are like a million different ways of doing this, right? But the general idea that I want. Okay. Okay, let me just. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do. Okay. Okay. So let me explain to you why I'm currently like pensive, basically. Hold on, let's put this like that. Okay, so so the idea that I can do is, let's say, out of all the different options that we have available to us, right? So option 1, use a on trigger enter / exit to add buffs and debuffs for each tower, right? Which that is a bit easier to code. It's a bit more inherently intuitive to code, but it's not beneficial if you want to go really bombastic and have like lots of towers, lots of buffs, whatever. Basically, it's going to be running more often, so it's less optimal, right? In terms of optimization, it's a bit more difficult, right? Then option 2, which I think I'm going to go with option 2, is use the game manager script to manually update every single tower one by one every frame, let's say, to to update every single tower's adjacency bonuses one by one every frame, right? So option 2 is generally the option I'm using in any strategy game or tower defense or whatever, and I've kind of already used a variant of option 2 with regards to the tower detection, right? The tower detection manager, we have one list, right, that is inside of the tower defense manager script, and all we do is just reference this list in order to find which target we're gonna be attacking, basically, right? So I'm gonna use something similar in the sense that I'm gonna have one big list that instead of containing every enemy, it's gonna contain every tower, and then the game manager script is gonna go through every single one of them and look at any adjacent tower, basically. So let me think of exactly how I'm gonna code this. So we have our grid. Are we going to be because again, some towers are gonna be bigger than others, so maybe they're gonna have a greater range of bonuses than other towers. Am I going to be using? Yeah, no. I'm just gonna create a tower range variable or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna do. Visuals related variables, tower attack variables, blah blah blah. Header. Tower adjacency variables. Public float this tower's adjacency range in float. There's -1, okay. Every other tower within this range receives this tower's bonus. Okay, oops, there you go. So, oh, sorry. So, okay, so I'm going to have a 2 for loops, basically. I'm going to have okay, so what the fuck? Okay. What? Okay, whatever. So basically I'm going to have, well, okay, I can't write in this anymore. Whatever. What the fuck? Okay. Bro. Okay. Here you go. Okay, so I'm going to do a for loop inside of another for loop. Okay? Loop 0 is bigger loop. Loop 1 is inside loop 0. And basically loop 0 go through every tower, okay, and then loop 1 is access current tower and use its stats to update all other nearby towers. Okay, So basically, for now, I'm gonna keep things simple, right? And the only because basically the mechanic that we're currently doing is that we're each of our towers is transferring data to one another, right? Basically, all of our different towers and tower scripts are communicating with one another to exchange data, right? Once you select anything outside the text box in Paint, the text becomes a background image. Oh wow, that's disgusting. All right, so okay, access current tower and use its stats to update all the new. Yeah, okay, exactly. So basically, the way this is going to work is that I'm going to use a single script, which is because again, option one was basically each tower is going to individually communicate with each other tower, right? But that's less optimal because you basically end up having, like, let's say you have 50 towers, you end up having the same script communicating, like all 50 scripts communicating with every other of the other 50 scripts, right? Like each script is communicating at the same time with all 49 of the other scripts. That's why it's less optimal, right? Whereas option two is you only have one script, which is the what's it called, the game manager script, which is going to go one by one through every single tower and communicate with every single other script, and this is going to happen every frame basically, right? And so that's why it's more optimal basically. So for now we're going to keep things simple, and in terms of the data transfer between towers, I'm just going to do public int number of adjacent towers equals 0, right? Updated every frame by game manager. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is go into the game manager. There it is. Okay, and here I'm gonna do void. So yeah, void tower adjacency manager. And generally stuff like, hold on, tower adjacency manager. So the game, like big scripts like the game manager or the UI manager, stuff like that, are the really big scripts that are going to do like really macro level stuff, right? So stuff like a tower detecting enemies nearby, that's not like a big thing, right? That's each tower should have its own tower detection function and stuff like that, right? But for a big mechanic, like a big global mechanic like the tower adjacency mechanic, that should be done by the game manager script because it's one of the like really main ones, right? The same way that like placing towers or moving the camera is done by the player manager script, right? So now here what we're going to do is go through every single tower and check if every single other tower is inside of its adjacency range. Okay, so we're gonna do for int loop index 0. Loop index 0 is fuck, hold on, I forgot to do something. Enemy variables, core gameplay. Other towers, tower variables, public list game object, all towers list. There you go. Index equals tower ID, list element equals tower object, right? And basically the idea is, where is the player manager? Place current tower, yep. So here, all we're gonna do is at the very end, here we're gonna do game man, what? Oh, I don't have a reference to the game manager, interesting. I guess I never needed one. Okay, now we're gonna put it here. Private game TD manager, this game manager TD script, there you go. Here, this game manager TD script equals game manager instance, there you go. Now we go back down here and we say, so basically the moment the player creates a tower, immediately add the tower, all towers list dot add. Oh, for fuck's sake, hold on. Newly placed tower. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna mute my microphone because I need to take a call from my mom. Okay, I'm back. Anyways, hold on. Fuck, man. Because two of my aunts from Bulgaria just landed in Toronto. My parents went to pick them up, and my mom calls me just for them to be like, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, "I'm working." Like, I talk to you later. Yeah. No, I straight up just told them like, "Yeah, I'm working. I'll call you later. Bye." And I found a porno magazine under your bed. You're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, no, this isn't the 80s, bro. All right, hold on. So where were we? Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, yeah. So the moment the player places the tower, right? We're going to access the game manager script, and then we have all of the tower. We're gonna access the game manager script, specifically the towers list that is inside of the game manager script, right? And we're gonna add the newly placed tower, right? Because this temporary variable is a reference to the game object we literally just instantiated, right? And so then, and again, because we don't have a mechanic in our game that makes our towers get destroyed, we don't have to worry about this list, the all towers list shrinking. However, because this script, this function is playing every single frame, we still need to be cautious because the player might place a tower while this is happening, right? So because of that, we're once again going to have to do another temporary thing, temporary public int current number of towers equals 0, right? There we go, current number of towers. And now here, go through every single tower and check if every single other tower is inside of its adjacency range, right? So now here, what we're going to do is variables for interacting with other scripts. And we're going to do private tower manager current tower manager script. Okay. And then here, private tower manager other tower manager script. There you go. Randy, if your father Ah, it's your father. Your mother's gone. I found her lying on the ground in front of your computer. Your history was on the screen, Randy. I don't know how to explain. Oh, Jesus. All right. Hold on. Yeah, it's my history of basically it's just a bunch of like Johnny Sins clips and stuff. All right, hold on. So first things first that we're gonna do is we update this variable here with however many towers are in the list, right? To avoid any errors, right? Like it's the same logic as the tower detection function, right? So number of towers equals all towers list dot count. There you go. So now we have a snapshot of how many towers we have in this current frame right now, right? And actually, okay, so this is what we're going to do. It's actually, we're going to have 3 loops. We're not going to have 2 loops. We're going to have 3 loops, right? So, okay, like this. And this here, I'm going to say reset every tower's adjacency data. Okay, so here we're going to do for loop index 0 equals 0, loop index 0 is lower than number of towers, loop plus plus. Okay, this one we're gonna move it here, update number of towers for this frame. There you go, like that. And now here all we're gonna do is current tower manager script equals towers list loop index. There you go. Oops. Dot get component tower manager. There you go, like that. And then what I'm gonna do is just current tower manager script dot number of adjacent towers equals 0. There you go. So first things first, we just reset all the data for every tower at the start of every single frame, right? And then here we're gonna do our second loop index 0 once again equals 0, loop index 0, number of towers, loop index plus plus. There you go. And now we do the exact same thing we did here, okay? Or actually, hold on. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, actually, hold on. There you go. Actually, I don't need this. Okay, so we're back to 2 loops basically. Okay, so you're gonna see it's all gonna start making sense, right? So the first thing we do is reset current towers adjacency data. Then go through every single other tower and update then update this tower, update current towers adjacency data by going through every single other tower. Okay, so now here we go, another loop index 1 equals 0, loop index 1 is lower than number of towers, loop index 1 plus plus. Okay, and now because we're using because both loops are using the same number of towers, which this is used to access all towers, right? Like basically this is used for us to know that the loop index is equal to a specific index inside of the all towers list, right? What this means is that whenever loop index 1 is equal to, it has the same value as loop index 0, it means that it's basically it's the index of the current tower, right? The current tower. And so all we can do is if loop index 1 isn't equal to loop index 0, right? Then we're gonna do stuff, right? So compare every other tower's position, or actually not, check all other towers positions to see if they're inside this tower's hold on, no, okay, okay, I realized, okay, so I was okay, once again I got I'm going to be honest, if I found out my son was whacking into his own lookalike, yeah, but okay, so basically, okay, so the reason why before I made a loop where we reset all the data, right, for every tower, and then the plan was to have this double loop here, right? The idea was that we reset every single tower's adjacency data, and then like in the original first loop, and then in this loop, let's pretend that this line here doesn't exist. What we would do is we would have each tower look at all the other towers that are within its adjacency range and give them its adjacency bonus, basically. So that was one way of doing it. Another way is basically to do the opposite, right? Which I think that the second way is it's a bit more like it's a bit less intuitive, but I think it avoids us a potential bug that might happen with the first method, right? So check to see if current tower is inside any other tower's adjacency range. Okay, check to see if current tower, yeah, so now what we're going to do is other tower manager script equals all towers list loop index 1 dot get component, boom, there you go. Okay, and now what we're going to do is hold on, how did we measure tower manager, tower detection? Okay, there you go. Game manager. So this here is just as a reference code. Okay. So yeah, so the way we did it is, yeah, so get distance between current tower and other tower. So vector 3 direction to other tower v3 equals current tower dot transform dot position minus other tower dot transform dot position, boom, like that. Okay. Yeah, well, whatever. This is clear enough, right? Okay, and then here, what I'm gonna do is float distance between towers F equals tower V3 dot magnitude. There you go. And now all I'm gonna do is if distance between towers is lower or equal to other tower dot adjacency range, okay, then we go into current tower dot number of adjacent towers. No, yeah. Number of, well, okay, no, exactly. Number of adjacency bonuses, yeah. Plus equals 1. So this I'm going to rename it to number of adjacency bonuses, right? So the idea here, okay, let's go back to our tower manager script, okay? The idea here is that this is the range that any other tower that is within this tower's adjacency range gets, like, it receives a bonus, right? That's the logic, right? And then here is the number of bonuses that this tower has received by being inside of any other tower's range. Does that make sense? Right? And so what we're doing in the game TD manager script, right, is we have two loops. We have this initial loop and then we have another loop inside of it, okay? In the initial loop, we go through every single tower, right? And so basically every single loop at the start, we get access to the tower script. Then we reset how many bonuses it has received. And immediately we create another loop that's the exact same loop, except instead of accessing the tower we already have access to, which is the current tower, we access every single other tower, right? So that's the other tower script. And then what do? We check, okay, what's the distance? What's the distance between both towers by having a vector 3, right? By checking the magnitude of a vector 3 between both towers' positions, right? And then we check, is the distance lower? Is the distance between both towers lower or equal to the other tower, right? The secondary tower. So not the main tower we're currently updating, but the other tower, right? If it is lower or equal to both towers, right? If it is lower or equal to the other tower's adjacency range, then that means that our current tower has one more adjacency bonus, right? Simple. So now that's it. Like, we don't need any of this other code here, right? And this basically happens every frame, right? So now let's see here, okay? If I click on any of my towers, down here we have this tower's adjacency range, blah, blah, blah. So let's go, wait, actually let's select all 4 of them and let's give it, so it's 1.5 of the difference. Yeah, so let's do 5. So all of my towers have an adjacency range of 5, right? And then let's go here. Well, actually, no. Prefabs, TD prefabs. Boom. There you go. Like that. Okay. So now let's select our player manager. Like that. Or actually our game manager. All towers, current number of towers. As you said, it's not as intuitive, but it makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So now let's say 1. Well, actually, okay, first of all, max player lives, let's put, well, no, okay. Max player lives is at 20. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it at a completely ridiculous number, right? Like 1 trillion or whatever, right? Whether, yeah, well, that's how many lives we have. Well, current player lives, fuck. There you go. Okay. Okay. Okay, and so now, okay, we have the enemies, they start spawning. Now I'm gonna put 1 tower here, another here, another there, right? Okay, and then, so now let's press pause. Let's select this tower here, and let's see, it has 1 adjacency bonus, which is probably, so hold on. Okay. So this tower here only has 1 adjacency bonus, which is probably equal to this tower here, right? If I click on this one, let's see if it's going to have 2. Okay. Yeah, it has 2. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put another tower somewhere near this one, but far away from this one, to see if this one now is going to get 2. Okay. There you go. So now, this one here, nope, hold on, this one here. Yeah, so now number of adjacency bonuses 2, right? But if I click on this one, it's still 2 as well, right? Because it's only these 2. So now if I put another tower somewhere, but somewhere around these ones here, right? If I click on this one, okay, hold on. If I click on this one, it only has 1, which is this one. So now if I were to put, let's say, a tower here, let's press pause. Let's click on this one. This one has 3. 1, 2, 3. This one here has 3. 1, 2, 3. This one here has 2. 1, 2. Yeah, so it works. There you go. The mechanic works. And so now basically the idea is very simple. It's so because basically the trickiest thing is to make a proper way of sharing data between the different game objects and the different scripts, right? Now that we have this, right, I can do something simple, right? Let's say, where's my tower management? So adjacency variables. Okay, so let's make a tower manager. Okay, so ideally, right, we would have different tower types. Like we can create a bunch of enum variables, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to how did we make enum variables? Enemy TD. Okay, let's just copy paste this. Yeah, we were here. Tower manager. Core variables. Like that. I'm gonna do. Oh, for fuck's sake. Public enum tower type TD. Let's see, none, or yeah, none, blue tower, red tower, green tower, yeah, yellow tower, public tower type, tower type, it's gonna be this, tower type, TD equals tower type, let's say dot none. There you go. Now we're just gonna remove this. Okay, there you go. Okay. Hey, it's your project manager. I have a sole experience question. Are we shooting the corpses of the balls at the other balls? Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So hold on. This tower type. Where was I? Okay, yeah. So let's say we have different tower types, right? Whatever it is, right? Now what I'm gonna do here, what I'm gonna add here in our adjacency stuff is public list of type integer, number of adjacency bonuses list. There you go. Wait a minute. Do I have a list somewhere? Index. Okay. Yeah. Index equals bonus ID list element equals number of said bonus. Okay, so now the idea, right? My version is hilarious. So here's the idea. Okay, let me just read. Oh, fuck's sake. There you go. Fuck's sake. Okay, so basically the idea is we're gonna replace this with this, okay? And the idea, so this is gonna be a very rudimentary example of how you can do certain bonuses, right? So the idea here, if we go back to our game tower defense manager, is as follows. Okay, hold on. So now here we update just the general number of adjacency bonuses we have together, right? But then what we're gonna do is if other dot tower this tower type equals tower type, let's say dot blue tower, right? Well, what we're gonna do is current tower manager dot adjacency bonuses list dot 0 plus equals 1, right? And so now then let's say that the adjacency bonus on index 0 is that the projectiles they shoot are different, right? Well, then what you can do is add let's say instead of having this tower's projectile prefab, you can have a list of game objects that are all of the various different projectiles, and then you can code like this tower that the moment the moment the integer at index 0 of this list, its value is more than 0, so you have at least one adjacency bonus on index 0, then you shoot like another like a different type of projectile. Like, you see what I mean? Like did what I just say make sense? Like, is it clear? Yes, no, maybe? Idun has blood fluid sim light that you can suck up to make your own. Oh shit, okay. Enhanced shooting, yeah. So exactly, so this is the idea, right? Like, this is how you would do like the adjacency bonus mechanic and all that stuff, right? Like, I hope it was fairly clear, fairly logical and stuff, right? Yeah. So now I'm sorry, can you run the last 15 minutes back? So basically, that's honestly that's about it, right? At this point, this is kind of like a good prototype for a tower defense game. It's very solid in my opinion, right? It kind of shows you how to do like all of the basic stuff, right? Like a um, very basic enemy pathing with these red, with these orange pathing cubes that eventually you would just make invisible, right? The gray cubes here are the spawners. Like imagine that ideally we wouldn't be able to see these spawners here, right? Just for immersion, right? And then here we have this magenta line that represents like the line that if the enemies cross, the player loses HP. And then what else? Then we have our grid system here for tower placement, but we also have the logic where like you can place your towers however you want, right? That was before we had the grid. Don't see any way to integrate a battle pass. How are we going to make money? Well, I'm not in the business of making money. I'm just kidding. We're gonna do the EA strategy and make people pay for every projectile that every tower shoots. I think that's gonna be a revolutionary tower defense game. But basically, yeah, we have all these very basic mechanics, right? We have the adjacency bonus stuff, etc., right? And so, yeah, so that's the plan here, right? Uh, yeah, yeah, like a blood DLC, exactly like Total War. Um, but yeah, so probably next week, I'm going to start the what's it called, the city builder prototype. Obviously, at the end of today's stream, I'm gonna send a copy of the project here, right, on the Discord. Speaking of which, let me just link it. I forgot to link it in yesterday's stream, but let me just link the Discord group, the Discord server for anybody watching the VOD, right? You can join our Discord. It's really fun. We have a lot of what's it called? We have a lot of resources here, like a lot of resources for game dev that you can use depending on like what you're trying to create, right? So it's lots of fun, obviously. Can you make an alternate projectile prefab for an enhanced shot? Well, yeah, exactly. So that was kind of the idea I was talking about when I said here you can add here instead of this tower projectile prefab, you can add a list, public list of type game object, this towers projectiles prefabs list. I know my variable names are really long. You guys can obviously shorten them, right? Equals new list game object, like that, right? And so instead of using this one, you're going to use this one depending on like certain variables, like how many adjacency bonuses you have or whatever, right? But yeah, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a lot of the not a lot of the variables, but a lot of the logic and the mechanics that we used to make today's not today's, but like basically that we used this weekend and last weekend to make the tower defense game. I'm gonna reuse a lot of these mechanics in order to create a basic city builder for next week. In the sense that next week I'm gonna create it with you guys, like to create a city builder prototype, right? I'm gonna base it off of one of my personal favorite city builder games, which hold on, Steam powered Um, okay. This game here, I love. This is one of my favorite city builder games. It's made in Unity by 2 people, okay? Basically here, like you can see it, right? Like it's done using a grid system, right? And then the player can just place his different units. But here's something interesting, right? You can kind of see it in this picture. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay. So you see how the roads are made, right? Basically here, there's one, what's it called? There's one tile. There's one tile here. There's another one here and another one here, right? But if you look carefully, the 3D model actually joins together, right? And if you play the game, it's like, actually, I think, you know what? I think I'm gonna put the game on just to show, because it's easier to show you the game in action. It's the Discord of hatred. Sounds like a Diablo expansion. Yeah. Okay, hold on. All right. So let me show you more properly. This thing, I can close it. Okay. I press play. Okay, there you go. Let's wait for the game to boot up. So let me show you what I mean, right? And like the reason I'm bringing this up is to kind of okay. So let's do a new kingdom, standard mode, creative mode, sure. Castleberg, whatever. Okay, fine. Okay, size, let's make it large, new map. Okay, so now here, all right, so we can see the tiles, right? We can see the different tiles. And if you look, again, this is made using Unity. If you look at where my mouse is currently on this, what's it called? So my mouse is on this tile, right? So it's literally the exact same as like the way I coded our tower defense, right? Like it's, you have like some sort of object that's represented by these 4 white lines, right? That shows where, like, which, what's it called? Which tile I currently have selected, right? No, I actually ripped them off. Yeah. Then if we click here, right? Hold on. Basically, what you can see is that this big object here, the parent object is where my mouse is, right? And the rest of the object is probably a child object with a specific offset, right? And then what happens is that whenever I click the middle mouse button, it changes the rotation, right? So you see? But the actual center, the actual parent object doesn't change, right? And then let's say I press left click, I put down my castle here, right? Now here I guess it's showing, hold on, creative mode. What we're gonna do is no dragon attacks, no Viking attacks, build for free, right? Okay, so now, let's say, I don't know, let's say a stone road, right? Here I have one road, right? There you go. There's the road. Let me just do this like that. Press pause. So you see how the 3D models change depending on like the adjacency. So this is probably based on a slightly more complex mechanic for like similar to my own, right? Of how to do the visuals and stuff like that. Like you see what I mean? So let's say I put this down here. See, and now see how the models change basically, right? Let me show where's the castle walls. Now it's the same thing with the castle walls basically, right? you can do this. If I put another one on top of it, right? So now basically this castle, the structure that I just put up, now it acts as another tile, basically, right? Okay, so now if I click on top of this, right? Because now this tower that I just put, right? It's acting like its own tile. Now if I put another tile on top of it, see, now I just like both models changed, right? If I put another one, see, there you go. So now there's a limit, right? So they probably coded it so that the adjacency stops at a certain number of towers. I think it's 4 or 5. But now if I put another one here, now I can put another one, right? Like that. You see? Like that, right? And now you see how the visuals are changing again? There you go. See? So anyways, so the reason why I'm showing you this is that probably in next week's what's it called? In next week's prototype for a city builder, I'm probably going to do something that resembles this game. It's not going to be as developed, right? Yeah, we're the photorealistic textures, right? But like, I think that this game is a masterclass of like keep it simple and stupid, right? Like, it's very intuitive, it's very good looking, like everything's working really well, and it's not like a groundbreaking game, right? Like, it's just, it does what it's supposed to do, and like, I don't know what else to say, right? Like, it does what it's supposed to do, and it does it really well, right? And so the point that I'm making is, for the city builder, I'm probably going to make something similar to this, obviously not the same, because I'm gonna keep it simple, right? But basically, the idea is gonna be very simple, right? Like, I'm gonna make something similar, probably tile based. I'm not gonna have all these myriad different like models and stuff. We're gonna stay with like cubes and spheres and stuff, right? To keep it simple. But I'm probably gonna do something similar and like push the adjacency mechanic a bit more. But because our city builder prototype is going to be based heavily off of the off of the tower defense prototype, it's probably going to take even less time to make than the tower defense prototype, right? We'll just get an AI to generate those. For similar games, it affects pathing to door/entrance, which require being connected to roads. Not sure about this one, but it often matters in the genre. Yeah. Human eye can't see anything older than UE5 now. I only see in temporal blur. The good thing about these graphics is we have loads of headroom to run lumen. Jesus. Yeah. No more lumen. Yeah, but exactly. So anyways, so all of this to say, right, that I'm gonna use a lot of the mechanics in this game kind of as inspiration to show you how you can make a very cool, very basic, what's it called? A very cool, very basic city builder, right? Quit. Okay. Another one that I'm gonna use as an inspiration is going to be, hold on, by genre, not strategy per se, but more like, fuck, where is it? Aha, this one, there it is. Okay, hold on, let me see if, okay, hold on, is she, okay. So here, let's say you have the UI, because I'm also going to show a bit more UI stuff, right? Come on, select, bitch. There you go. Okay, so see, so this one is a bit more freeform, like the original version of the tower defense, right? So it's not grid based. It's more so like you can put stuff however you want, right? And so I'm probably gonna do some sort of mix between both of these. You see what I mean? So yeah, so that's the plan, right? For this type of stuff, right? I think, hold on. Let's close this. Oh, fuck's sake, not this. This here. Let me just look at something. Castle, not critical role. No. Hold on. I had an artwork. Hold on. Or was it? Hold on. Is that it? Okay, hold on. So, okay, there you go. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So you see here how for this artwork, this is an artwork I found like online or whatever. You see how you have like all of these different like artworks of buildings and stuff that are like put together to make like a cityscape. But then here you can see all of the different individual buildings, right? So the idea that I'm gonna have is I'm gonna kind of create a prototype similar to this. We're going to have UI elements that shows all of the different like small houses and stuff, right? And then I'm going to like you select one if you have the resources, and then you put them down and stuff like that, right? That it's gonna be very basic and stuff like that. So which I think in like next weekend, I think we should be able to go through the whole thing in like 2.5 hours per stream, basically. I think it should be fairly easy. And then once we're gonna be done with the what's it called, with the city builder prototype, I'm gonna start working, if I remember correctly, I think the third thing was a grizzly bear chasing Alberta wild horses. Damn. It's gonna be, if I remember, the RPG. Yeah, it's gonna be the RPG. There are different types of RPGs. I'm not exactly sure with which one I'm gonna start, but it's probably gonna be something top down, just because it's a bit easier to start with. It's probably gonna be something top down, similar to hold on, similar to Battle Right gameplay, similar to this, right? Where like you move your character with WASD, and then you aim with your mouse and stuff like that, basically, right? It's probably gonna be something similar to this, and then we're gonna like branch off depending, right? Randy's next project is going to be implementing a nanite equivalent in Unity. I'm sure the funds we put into this will be worth it. Next is an aggressive city fortress. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. All right, but yeah, so that's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan for the next couple of streams. Again, if you guys are looking for anything specific in terms of like city builder mechanics or something like this, let me know, right? I know that Red Herring is obsessed with like having a mobile type of thing, so maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do some sort of a city builder that like you're on a moving city, kind of like hold on, kind of like the thing in John Carter. Hold on, John Carter, Zodanga. I think. That's it. No, this is like a scene from the movie. God damn it. I need it to show. No, it's all showing the same fucking. Hold on. John Carter. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Right? So, where's the artwork? Okay, there you go. Like something like this, right? Like some sort of mobile city. Maybe we could do something like this, right? Time to go mobile. Yeah. Oh my god, HD. Jesus. But yeah, like who knows, right? Like we'll see what we can do, right? But that's kind of the idea that I'm thinking. And then yeah, so something like that, and then eventually we can transition into doing RPG prototypes, which those ones are gonna be super long. They're probably gonna be longer than the platformer prototype because making an RPG is actually, it involves quite like to make it look good, right? Like even if it's a prototype, it's probably going to involve doing some more fancy stuff, and that's probably where I'm going to introduce animation. I might introduce animation in the city builder, or I might wait until the RPG. We'll see. No promises, but yeah, no promises. But that's in general how we're gonna go with these things, basically. So yeah, so that's the plan. And do you guys have any questions, any requests, anything else to say? I know that today's stream was shorter, but honestly, I didn't think it was gonna be that easy to make these mechanics, right? Like we barely had any bugs, right? So, you know, I was expecting it to take longer because usually like we have to fix bugs and everything, but like this time I was like, oh well, actually, it turned out pretty good, you know. All right, put some bright red lipstick on and give red herring a kiss on. Nah. No thanks. But yeah, so yeah, if ever you guys have any requests, any questions, anything like that, let me know either in the comments or if you join the server. Once again, I'm gonna put the Discord link in the chat, in the live stream chat for the VOD, for anybody who's interested in joining the server. And otherwise, yeah, I'll probably see you guys next week. And yeah. All right. Take care, boys. Talk to you next week.